to Mr. Pettinger on the terms of the loan and the other costs. Let's just go over a couple of the other costs. There's a 3% fee for management of the catch share program.
Yes, that's a cost recovery fee to National Fisheries Service.
Right. Do we have, as National Marine Fisheries, documented that the number is matched, that 3% is their actual administrative costs?
Not yet. It's been asked for. My understanding is they're being sued by the catcher processors over the whiting sector, what they're charging them. So I would assume those would be forthcoming.
Okay, so we got the 3% there. Observers, they're not paying 100% of the cost of the observers anymore, are they?
It would vary by the size of vessel and the capacity. And I think that's one of the big fears here is the smaller vessels, which would catch less, it would be a bigger part of their gross. That's why we're moving forward on electronic monitoring as an alternative to lessen the cost in the fleet.
And we're a little bit slow on the electronic monitoring, isn't that correct? Because they want to be able to deal with every contingency and with 100% certainty, as opposed to being able to identify things 99% of the time.
We're moving forward at a steady, slow pace, yes.
Right, but that would remove a burden.
Right.
You think that the company, I understand there's like 3 companies that provide observers?
I think there's 2 main ones, I believe, but
yeah.
It's getting pretty hard to get observers in some of these small ports.
Right, and so, I mean, electronic monitoring is problematic not only in terms of cost, but sometimes in terms of who is sent or who isn't sent to be dispatched as an observer.
Yep, true.
Okay, so that's another burden. And then finally, we have the payday loan on top of that.
Right.
So, okay. So what percent of how well are people doing? What percent of folks are having real trouble making these obligations and making a living and being able to put food on the table other than the fish they catch at home?
Well, you know, I don't know everybody's business, but I was in Newport just the other day, and I had a fisherman come up to me and say, "Hey, we got to do something about this."
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's only 2%, which isn't that much of the gross, but that comes off the top. And so if the boat, say, is netting 10%,
mm-hmm.
that extra 2% that we're going to gain back is 20% extra that they would be receiving. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of a culmination of effects. So we're just trying to chip away where we can, mm-hmm. and that we're not going to solve the world on all these issues, but this is one component of the things we need to work on, and we're moving all these trade amendments and everything that's going to make this fishery better, more efficient, while keeping the accountability in place, because that's really key to this program.
And then I asked you a question because we were puzzling, staff was puzzling, I've been puzzling for years on how this interest rate was reached, since it was 2 points above prime at the time. And you opined that it was because of risk, but you also went on to say, I mean, it's not against someone's individual boat or an individual person not being able to sustain the business anymore. It's against the whole, all the landings of the fleet.
Right.
So where's the risk? I guess if there's no more fish, there'd be a risk.
That would be the risk. Yeah. My understanding is that 2% is just a standard insurance that they put on top of every loan they ever do. And so if they loan on a vessel that's depreciable, it makes a difference. But
I'm not sure that's true, but we'll check into that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.